Masif dan salam perantauan. Selamat Hari Raya!
Hai, Assalamualaikum. Saya Kamarina. Saya Adisu. Kami ingin mengucapkan Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf Zahir dan Batin. Love from Melbourne. Bye.
Hai Cik Zul dan Cik Baharul. Tahun dekat Lake Rotorua. We're having fun.
Okey, baiklah, bersama kami lagi di program Matrikulasi. Bersama-sama kita pada pagi ini untuk slot ketiga bagi tajuk Sijil Matrikulasi, Pengiktirafan ke Universiti Luar Negara. Jadi insya-Allah bersama-sama kita untuk slot ketiga kali ini adalah dengan wakil daripada agensi pengurusan pelajar untuk ke New Zealand. Okey. Jadi kita akan teruskan berkongsi berkaitan dengan kaedah macam mana pelajar nak mohon ke New Zealand, apa funding yang ataupun pembiayaan yang akan terima pelajar, dan bermacam-macam soalan lagi lah yang boleh kita jawab pada sesi pagi ini bersama-sama dengan kita. We have Mr. Philip Yong daripada Cellside Education. Hi Philip.
Hi Jinzo, how are you? How's everything?
I'm fine, great, thank you. Thanks for being with us today, Ms. Philip.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Of course, first and foremost, I'd like to say good morning and salam sejahtera kepada semua orang yang sedang watching this live with us or watching later with us. If you have any question within the time frame, you're more than happy to write it on the comment section. Let us know what sort of question. I believe me and Encik Zul are more than happy to answer any question about matrikulasi or studying over in New Zealand. So yeah, would you like me to go with my presentation or?
Okay, terima kasih Cik Philip. Okay, untuk yang selanjutnya sebelum kita berkenalan lah dengan macam mana apa operasi sel-sel sebagainya, okay, saya tayangkan satu lagi video khas buat anda-anda semua daripada pelajar-pelajar kami yang sedang melanjutkan pengajian di New Zealand. So kita tengok dulu.
Appear out of the blue, and surprisingly I have quite a heart for you. But behind this cheeky little smile that you love, a problem I don't know if you can bear. Don't say I don't warn you, baby. It's time for you to know what you're heading to.
Okay, Baiklah, saya rasa lepas menonton video pendek tadi, saya rasa ramai adik-adik lepasan SPM maupun lepasan matrikulasi teruja untuk memohon ke universiti di luar negara. Kalau khususnya di New Zealand, kalau kita perhatikan dia punya landscape-nya sangat cantik. Universitinya adalah terbaik. Okay, a few university that I can name which is quite famous there, University of Auckland, Victoria University of Wellington, we have Massey University, and we also have Canterbury University and Otago University. That's a few top universities in New Zealand that are applicable, that our students, matriculants, can apply to the university. So without further ado, I guess let's Mr. Philip explain more about the applications, about the process of about the services that provided by Self-Site Education. Thank you very much, Mr. Philip. Goes to you.
Thank you, Inchiju, for passing the mic over to me. If you have attended the previous presentation from Australia and UK, yes, they are really fantastic. But as you see from the earlier video I've shared by Inchiju, you can see the fantastic landscape over in New Zealand. It's so fresh, it's so clean. It's one of the beautiful countries in the whole wide world. To my opinion, I would say that. But one thing, if you can share my slide up, and then we can, thank you. Right, so my name is Philip. I'm from Self-Site Education Centre. We are your New Zealand Specialist Education Consultants. We work very closely with the Ministry of Education and with Inchezu in the division of the Matrikulasi program. So we've helped hundreds of students in the Matrikulasi program and get them enrolled into the university, help them with their application, help them with what to get prepared and what to their accommodations and so on and so forth, basically A to Z. So in my slide, I'll show you quickly here, just moving on to the next one. So our services, right? So what we do is we do free counseling session. We actually go down to MOE, we sit down, we did a counseling session with the students, like which university you should apply to, what programs you can look into studying. We help you in terms of application process to the university of your choice. And of course, we help you in terms of any necessary interviews, guidance and portfolios, auditions. Those are like more particular subjects, such as if you're going into pharmacy, you're going to speech pathology, you're going into dentistry or so on and so forth. There's certain things that you need to prepare in hand, and we'll help you with that. We also help you in terms of university accommodation, you know, if you want to stay on campus or you want to find your seniors when you're there, because there's obviously your seniors in New Zealand, we can actually accommodate you and help you link up with them, and then you can see whether they want to open up and sharing their rooms or sharing their accommodation with you, which is way more cheaper in that sort of sense. And we assist you in terms of your student visa application. You know, when you're going overseas, you need a student visa to go over. And lastly, last round we did before a bunch of students, I think 30 over students, I met Inchiju and the rest of the students over at the airport. We gave them a wave goodbye, and we tell them, be prepared, you know, things that you can actually get ready before you even arrive there, and what are the things that you should do and don'ts when you arrive, and so on and so forth. But that's before the COVID. But with now the COVID, there's a lot more new SOPs, but of course I'll explain that in the future when we're doing a pre-departure information in the future. Moving forward, this video right here, I think Zu can help me play with that. This video is fantastic. It shows you everything beautiful about New Zealand, and it's all from famous people. And that video will actually explain a whole lot more compared to what I can actually explain. Zu, if you don't mind, you can help me play the video. Not this one, the next.
Kia ora. Welcome to the University of Canterbury.
Not this one. It's the other one, the first one.
Zealand, I think of a place that is pure and magical, and it's the most beautiful place I've ever seen my entire life.
Now, this is like corny, but it literally took my breath away. I never felt that before.
There's a rainforest that links up to a glacier. How does that even happen?
Our responsibility to our land and to our future generations is really important.
We're on a mission to make better things in a better way and tread more lightly in the way that we make products, to be thoughtful about the environment.
We care for the planet and its people, and that's what makes us different, I think.
And our gift to the world is not just our beautiful environment, but all of our talent.
New Zealand embraces and celebrates innovation, whether it be food, but also wines that stand up to the best in the world.
They created a style of Sauvignon Blanc that took the world by storm.
New Zealand is a country rich with creativity, and when you combine that creativity with the power of technology, that creates things that no one could have imagined possible.
And what we can offer is limitless. Technology is our fastest growing industry.
And at Google, we love Kiwis because Kiwis have this can-do attitude. You're looking for people who are just going to make things happen.
New Zealanders have a unique way of solving problems and a lot of confidence about that. And the whole America's Cup thing, you know. The New Zealanders learned to fly on water before everybody else did. That's technology.
And we're launching rockets in New Zealand. How cool is that?
Just because we're a small island nation doesn't mean we won't give it a crack. We'll just go out and do it.
New Zealand has an incredible educational system and incredible universities.
And my education in New Zealand convinced me that I could achieve anything I wanted to do.
You're taught to question, you're taught to wonder, you're taught to puzzle, to be inspired.
At my school, we've got kids from all over the world.
160 different languages are spoken in New Zealand.
Opportunities are equal to all.
Everybody's welcome in New Zealand.
And we have a collective responsibility to our land and to our future generations. And that comes from a word in Māori we call kaitiakitanga.
Ka tino tiaki, ka tino manaki, I te tai ao, I te tangata.
But we're also good at other things, lots of other things. Look at the movies they make.
They do the best visual effects ever.
Our gift to the world is our people, who succeed wherever they go.
To be a Kiwi now is something that I'm very proud of. I'm lucky that I grew up here.
And although we're only small, we believe we could take on the world.
Belief is the most powerful characteristic that you can get. And New Zealanders just simply have it as an act of nature. We simply believe that we can.
What is the most important thing in the world? He tangata, he tangata, he tangata. It is people, it is people, it is people.
Right, thank you for that. Well, that's a fantastic video. As you can see from the video itself, it explains everything, the landscape, the education, the people, the experiences. I mean, it's just so beautiful. I mean, I really miss having to go back to New Zealand itself to visit there, to see my students, how are they doing, and so on and so forth. But with that video itself, it shows you every single thing that what you can actually gain in New Zealand, where they can say it's a can-do attitude. You know, you've got to go out there, you've got to keep doing it. And it's such a small country where there's only 5 million people, which the opportunity, it's so amazing. I mean, as you can see, good movies are created out of there, like The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbits. If you see the visual effect, if you've watched the movie The Avatar, is actually one of the they actually created all the visual effects, the 3Ds and so on in New Zealand particularly. So it's really amazing. The opportunities are given to everyone out there itself. So moving back to my slide, with the video done. So New Zealand, now to show you the beautiful part of New Zealand from the video, now I'll show you the education part of New Zealand. Hope this is not going to be boring to everyone, but yes. In New Zealand, there are only 8 universities, and all of these 8 universities are public universities, right? So there's Auckland, AUT, Auckland University of Technology, University of Waikato, Massey University, University of Wellington, Otago University, University of Canterbury, and Lincoln University. Now, the fantastic thing about New Zealand is that if you've gone through the SPM and you've gone through the Matrikulasi program, even the 1-year or the 2-year programs, you are able to apply to all 8 universities. All right, but of course it varies and depends on what sort of subjects you're looking to study. We've helped, as I mentioned in the beginning, we've helped hundreds of students on the Matrikulasi program and have them get them into the universities in New Zealand. And all 8 universities accept the Matrikulasi program to get into it. So if you're an SPM graduate, you just finished, please, by all means, get yourself enrolled into the Matrikulasi program, because number one, you finish an SPM, which is a Malaysian qualification. You want to get yourself into another Malaysian qualification where it's easy a maneuver for you in terms of studying. And the Matrikulasi program itself, it's so well built in a sense where, number one, there's all these small tutorial classes where what Encik Zul was mentioning. It's very much focused. It's very campus-like. So each state here in Malaysia, we do have one campus where you can go in there and actually use the facilities. You get all sort of things available in front of you and in front of for you to question, for you to ask. And it's kind of the same concept with what Education New Zealand is trying to portray. So you can see that sort of linkage between Malaysia and overseas in New Zealand itself. Moving forward, here we go. So in New Zealand, basically we're split into 2 islands, North and South Island. If you can look, there are 5 universities up in the North Island and 3 universities down in the South. So you can see the main city center is Auckland. The other one 1 hour away, probably 1 hour and 30 minutes drive to Hamilton, which is in Waikato University. Massey University main campus in Palmerston North. And if you like a place where it's a bit more open, up to the sea, and very windy kind of place, you can look into University of Wellington, which is Victoria University. And if you like a bit more cultural, more lively sort of thing, you can look into Christchurch, where University of Canterbury is, as well as Lincoln University. You like something a bit more laid back, more easygoing, somewhere a bit more colder, you can look all the way down south, which is in Dunedin, which is Otago University. All right. Moving forward. So these are actually kind of like a QS ranking, world rankings in terms of subjects. Now, as what Encik Zul has mentioned, all the 8 universities are within the top, I would say the top 300 in terms of the subjects and in terms of the university. As you can look into University of Auckland, they are ranked number 1 up compared to the other 7 universities. So as you can see, university is more like an all-rounder. Their pharmacies are number 28, accounting and finance is 53, and education training 27, law 54, and so on and so forth. I will not go through on details. This is all recorded, and of course you can actually rewatch it. You can share it with your friends in the future and have it look over it, or you can contact me or Encik Zul for any sort of a reference or anything that you want to know further. AUT University is famous for their art and design and sports related subject. They also came up with a new subject as today. Technology have advanced to a whole new level. You can look into AI studies, you look into media design, you can look into anything that regards to technology side. AUT University is one of the universities I'll highly recommend. University of Otago, if you're looking for anything within the science field, from dentistry to medicine to anatomy to life science and so on and so forth, Otago University is fantastic. And one thing I love about them is the human nutrition as well as the sports science. Reason why for that is one of our students, basically, he did the human nutrition studies, and he, on his second year, he actually worked hand in hand with the famous All Blacks, which is in New Zealand, the famous All Blacks, the rugby team. And they actually gave him the first-hand experience to create a nutrition program for these athletes. So you see, you get both the education and you get the experience, the learning experience, and you're working with top-end people itself, right? So the experience that you gain, it's wide. Victoria University of Wellington is located in the capital in New Zealand, which is in Wellington. So the law, their international studies, political studies, political science, I think that's one of the universities famous for. Lincoln University, if you're going into agriculture and forestry.
Before you go too far, okay? Yeah. Let's focus on Victoria University of Wellington. You know why?
Yes, you are a graduate of Victoria University of Wellington.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the viewers out there, okay, it's one of the best universities, Victoria University of Wellington. I was there. I've been studying there in Wellington for about 3 or 4 years there. And then mostly students are going to Victoria University. They went for accounting, sciences, and it's good. It's a good place to study. The locations there is nice. It's at the center of New Zealand, so with the windy Wellington, the famous with it. And then of course I had a great experience in during my stays there. And of course, this was my second home lah. So hopefully in future, after this border is open, then I can go back to and see.
I believe you missed the coffee. You missed the coffee there, don't you?
Yeah, true. Okay, that's one point lah. Actually, in Wellington, it is the most coffee shop, if I'm not mistaken, the most coffee shop in the world.
Yes.
They have the most coffee shop in the world.
I mean, their coffee is all home brewed, and then it's so. I mean, I've never tasted something fantastic in terms of their coffee over there. And Wellington, their coffee is just amazing. It wakes you up, number one. At the same time, it makes you keep going, energetic, and you want to go for more coffee later on. Yeah.
All right. True. Okay, and besides that also, just like to add up, if some of our scholarships, scholars funding for Petronas, for Mara, and from other sponsorship also send their students to Wellington, to Canterbury, to Auckland, and even some of Malaysian students are studying. Most of Malaysian students studying medicine are doing medicine studies, pharmacies and so on in Otago. Okay, yes. So it's a well-rounded place to study. So come, let's hear more from Phillips.
Of course. Thank you for that, Encik Zul. I mean, like what Encik Zul has mentioned, you see, I mean, coming from alumni himself, he loves it there. You know, it's pretty amazing, and he called it a second home, and he's been there for 3 years of his studies there. I mean, of course, with everything that come hand to hand, the experience still embedded into you. You know, it's just not that 3 years of your education being there. It's the experience, the culture, the language, Of course, the education comes to the hand, but all of these are the most important thing, and networking. I mean, we didn't even know that Encik Zul was a graduate until he said, "Oh, I'm alumni," and the university's representative remembers Encik Zul. So all of this is the networking, the culture, all of this. It's very much important. I know education is one of the factors, but all of those others are the most important thing. So moving forward again. As you can see, these are all the rankings from the University of Canterbury, Waikato University, Massey University, famous for their vet science and so on and so forth. Right, so application process. Oh, I think my slide has disappeared. Let me see. Okay, it's back. Right, so application process. Now, in New Zealand, all the 8 universities, there's going to be an application form for you to fill up. There is no application fees for all the universities. There's no application fee, there's no registration fee, there's no so on and so forth. You pay 0, right, for the application only, okay? But your tuition fee, you still have to pay. In terms of the process of how we want to do it, we definitely need your passport, the international passport. If you don't have that yet, you can actually provide us with your birth certificate. Of course, with your SPM results, in matriculasi results. And of course, if you're doing the 2 years matriculasi program, apparently you got to do a IELTS examination or a TOEFL or an English Pearson in order to get yourself into the university, right? Because there's an English requirement getting into it. If you have only done the 1 year matriculasi program, you do not need to do a 1119, but you can use, you don't need to do an IELTS, but you can use your SPM 1119 English. If you have a B+ and above, there is no need for any IELTS, all right? Now, the entry requirements to the universities in New Zealand, right? From the matriculasi program, it's a CGPA out of 4. So what happened is that in order to graduate from the matriculasi program, you need a 2.0 to get a certificate. I believe later Encik Zul can actually pinpoint on that. So 2.0, it's once you graduate and then you can get a certificate. But the entry into the university is roughly around 2.2 to 2.4. It depends. It's all on a case-to-case basis because it depends on what program you're getting yourself into. And then you can look into applying to the university itself. The fantastic thing about the matriculasi program is because all the students who are done, they have a 4 flat. They are amazing students. So that's one thing that I highly recommend as well. If you're from the SPM, by all means, get yourself enrolled into the matriculasi program. And with that, with the education that you gain from there, if you're not getting a 4.0, try your best to do as best you can. Right, anyways, moving next. There are many scholarships available for international students. As you can see, this is one of the examples. University of Canterbury do offer scholarships for international students from 10,000 to 20,000 New Zealand dollars. You're probably looking at, my thing has gone again. You're probably looking at roughly around, usually they will offer from 10 to maybe 20% scholarship that is offered for international students. Sorry, my thing has gone again. Right, and basically, this is another one, which is Auckland University. So they do offer scholarships. Now, these are just examples. All 8 universities have scholarships. Do not worry. All right, I can't show you everything because our time is a bit limited here. You're always more than happy to get in contact with me from CELSAT, or you're always more than happy to get in contact with KPM or Encik Zul for any further information that you want to have to. And here, this is something that I think parents will want to look into if you are in international students. This is kind of comparison into the foreign currency and living costs. If you can look into it, the living costs are in America, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. New Zealand is still considered one of the most affordable ones. As you can see, New Zealand is 15,000 to 18,000 New Zealand dollars per year. And if you can compare with their foreign currency, New Zealand is still considered one of the lowest. 2.91 compared with the other countries where it's 3.16, 3.3, 5.7, and 4.14. Right? And moving next would be, I know a lot of students and parents parents will always want their kids to get some experience when they're overseas. This is kind of like the minimum wage, which is actually in April, 1st of April, which is just yesterday, they actually updated it. So if you're an adult, 18 years old and above, your minimum wage, you're probably looking at roughly around 20 hours per hour, right? Maybe lower, depending. So usually it's from $16 to $20 per hour. And then, of course, you can work 20 hours a week in your student visa and 40 hours during the long holiday time frame. Because the long holiday in New Zealand, there's two long holidays. Number one is actually the summer holiday, and the other one is the winter holiday. The longest holiday you have is the summer. I think it's roughly on 2 months or 2.5 months. If you've seen the earlier videos that's shown by Ancient Zoo itself, you can see that all of them are enjoying themselves, the beautiful thing of New Zealand. And then they were saying, oh, hi Ancient Zoo, you know, we're enjoying ourselves, we're in Rotorua. I think that is something that it's amazing, because you want to have fun, you know, you want to enjoy that sort of thing. Moving next, this is the start dates. Now, this is quite important. If you're going to compare with others, if you're doing the first 1 year Matrikulasi program with KPM, what happens is that in New Zealand, you start in January, let's say you finish in December, you can look into the February intake. If you can't make it for the February or March intake, do not worry, there is another intake, which is the June or July intake, which what we call the spring semester. All right. Now, majority of subjects are all offered during the first intake, which is February, March. There are some limited subjects that's offered on June and July. But do not worry. If you have any questions, as I say again, you're always more than happy to ask us, and we're more than happy to answer you later on. Moving forward, this is another video. I love this video. This is by the University of Canterbury, and all our students that's there. If you don't mind, you can play that video.
At UC, you will never be alone.
My experience at University of Canterbury has been a really positive one, alhamdulillah. As an international student, I have to break out of my comfort zone and build my self-confidence. So I do this by joining clubs and also engaging with the community through my placement.
Studying law has always been a passion of mine, and Christchurch is such a beautiful city. When I heard about the law degree offered by UC, it really became the only choice for me.
I first came to Christchurch with my family on a vacation. The nice environment and the friendly locals made a lasting impression. This led me to study engineering in UC, and it is the best decision I've made without doubt.
One part that I really enjoy about my studies is the clinical placement component. This component offers me the opportunity to work with people from different backgrounds.
Studying in Christchurch, specifically in University of Canterbury, helped me to balance my lifestyle in terms of studying, working, shopping, exercising, having fun with friends. Oh, and one more thing interesting, road trip. Everywhere is picturegram.
I chose to come to UC because I love Christchurch. UC has a newly built music campus where it's close to the beautiful botanic gardens. It's really new, it's really modern, and you can have all the access you want to the instruments and practice rooms. Here in Christchurch, I get to be who I want to be.
Right, so that's one of the that's actually the students from the MUSA, Malaysian Society, the Malaysian Students Malaysian Society in University of Canterbury. And that's the other amazing thing. I believe, Encik Zul, you can say on this, they all have this Malaysian competition in terms of futsal, in terms of football, in terms of rugby, among all the 8 universities. I believe you have gone through that as well. Did you?
Yes, true. Cuma that video that you played just now make me cry lah, make me want to travel. So
not just you, not just you.
Okay. So what Billy had said just now. Okay. A few nations in New Zealand are very supportive. We have high commissioners there, and then with the Students Association, Malaysian Student Associations are working well there, gel well, and then they have a competitions each year within the university's branches. It's nice. It's nice feeling to get attached with their friends from Malaysia and from all over the world. But I would like to add one more thing lah. They were eating a lot of foods there. So don't worry for those who studying there in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Okay, foods there are mostly halal lah. So I mean, you can find halal food very easy. So don't worry. You can cook. You can eat at the shops, at the restaurants. And there's a lot of eateries there, Malaysian eateries there, and then but of course homemade food is the best lah. So learn to cook lah.
I mean, that's the best way. I mean, if you learn how to cook, you actually minimize your living costs. But what Encik Zo has mentioned itself, look, in New Zealand, there's also a Papa Rich. If you are homesick, you can actually go to Papa Rich and have some nasi lemak, some roti jana, and so on and so forth. But it's a bit expensive lah. I would suggest that. Then again, if you're really homesick, you can go for all these Malaysian restaurants or small eateries around there and enjoy the Malaysian taste all over again. And that video right there is actually a Malaysian cafe. They actually cook rendang, mee goreng, char kway teow, all this Malaysian cuisine that's there, and all the Malaysian students right always go there to makan.
nice. Okay, saying about that, so we had another question from one of our viewers there. Okay, he was saying about this from Liso. Can we work while studying? Any comments?
Yes, basically, as mentioned before, you can actually work while you study, but we would not recommend you to actually study and work. And if you're not good in time management, then do not study and work at the same time. If you are very good in time management, then yes, you can actually go and study and actually work at the same time. But what happens is that don't clash those two, because when you're an international student overseas, the most important thing is always attending your class, making sure you're on time and making sure you're doing a thing, right? Because when you're going overseas, it's about the experiences, the education, and so on and so forth. It's not about work. As a university student, you're supposed to go and enjoy, not supposed to go there and really find a job full-time and stuff like that. But if you want to minimize some costs, yes, you can definitely work while you're studying. But again, do time management properly, then you can actually look into studying and working at the same time. Yeah.
Yep, true. Thank you, Felix, for the answers. I guess most of viewers, would be very appreciate with the information given by Philips just now. Okay, so shall we proceed, or you have more videos or slide?
No, I do not have anything. That's everything for me. Unless you have any questions you'd like to ask or anything we would like to run through. In regards of all, I mean, if anyone in this currently watching, you're more than happy to actually leave a question for us over at the comment section.
All right, thank you very much, Philips. Okay, for the presentations and the informations given by Celsat. So it's nice to get to know the Celsat with the New Zealand's educations and Malaysia, how does it really and so on. But the most important part here today is actually before you go to New Zealand or you want to apply to universities in New Zealand, the first thing you have to do is to apply to matriculations. Okay, make sure you apply to matriculation first, and then from there we can move on to go study abroad, to go study locally. We have local universities which are waiting for you, such as Nis Malaya, USM, and so on. But we also offer for those matriculations graduate. They can also apply to overseas universities such as New Zealand. We have 8 universities that are very beautifully created, and is if you want a different environment of learning, is the best. It's not a choice for you to make. So dengan ini, untuk pelajar-pelajar matrikulasi ataupun adik-adik lepasan SPM yang sedang mengikuti video ini, rakaman ini, do apply for matrikulasi. Make it as one of your best choice for pathway to university's degree program. So I guess we shall wrap up the sessions. Any last word from you, Philips?
Yeah. Okay. So Thank you again, Inchizo, for inviting me here, and I really appreciate being here to actually share the experience and share what New Zealand have to offer. But then again, what Inchizo just earlier mentioned itself. Look, the link is right there for you, the matrikulasi.moe.gov.my. Go there and visit them. Go and look into the Matrikulasi program. What is it? Go and apply for that, because with the Matrikulasi itself, you can actually apply both locally and overseas. And from here, you can hear from both myself and Inchizo. New Zealand University, all 8 universities accepts the Matrikulasi program. So if you want to have the opportunity of going overseas, you can use that and enter into all 8 universities in the future. I do wish everyone the best, stay safe, and let's hope we all get through this COVID situation. And next year when the borders are open, Inchizo can start going over to New Zealand and visit it. And for me to go for a vacation as well. I believe all of us would like to have that. Again, thank you. Thank you, Inchizo. I'll see you when I see you.
Right, thank you very much again, Phillips from Southside Educations, and for all the viewers that are watching today. Sesi hari ni, yes, we prepared another session for you guys, but we'll postpone it for another time. But for at the meantime, untuk tajuk hari ini iaitu Sijil Matrikulasi, kemasukan ke Universiti Terkemuka Luar Negara. Sampai sini saja kita berjumpa pada hari ini. Jadi insyaAllah bagi para pelajar atau ibu apa yang sedang menonton, mohonlah ke matrikulasi di scroller di bawah ni, matrikulasi.moe.gov.my. Permohonan adalah percuma, dibuka sehingga 15 April 2021. Jadi jangan lepaskan peluang ini, dapatkan pendidikan terbaik untuk anak-anak anda di matrikulasi. Jadi sekali lagi terima kasih semua. Terima kasih Phillips.
Thank you, Tuzo.
Kita tinggalkan anda dengan video penutup. Jadi sekali lagi terima kasih. Bye.
Bye.
Hari Raya Aidilfitri, maaf lahir dan batin, dan salam kawan-kawan. Selamat Raya.
Hai, Assalamualaikum. Saya Kamarina. Saya Aditya. Kami ingin mengucapkan Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri, maaf zahir dan batin. Love from Melbourne. Bye.
Kalik rotorua. We're having fun.